When I left the Republican Party back in 2017, I started noticing things about myself that I didn't notice before. Time to get uncomfortable because we're going to talk about racism. And not the kinds with white hoods and racial slurs. I'm talking about the kind that hides in plain sight through our assumptions and stereotypes. The kind that gets passed down without us even realizing it. I know because I was once blind to it. I used to say things like, I don't see color, because I thought that was a respectful thing to say. When Ferguson happened, I heard Black Lives Matter, and I thought that was divisive. That's why I said all lives matter. After all, if you're going to invoke race to try to prove your point, that's racist, right? Which is why I was more concerned about the words and not the message that it meant. I seriously thought DEI meant lowering standards. I didn't blink when someone called some other country a shithole. I ignored the South's succession because I wanted to admire leaders like Stonewall Jackson and Robert E. Lee, and so I can fly a certain flag under the guise of heritage, not hate. None of those things made me think I was racist, but that's exactly the point. Racism isn't always obvious. It doesn't have to be aggression or violence. Sometimes it's the phrases, the stories, and the stereotypes that we've accepted without question. And once I left the GOP, those coded messages got a lot more obvious. The way people like Trump overemphasize Obama's middle name, or depicting them as monkeys, saying things like, go back to where you came from, and making blanket statements about immigrants, calling them criminals, invaders, or they're eating your cats and dogs. They keep using phrases that sound race neutral, but all they do is reinforce fear and division. And if you keep repeating the same stereotypes over and over, eventually you're going to shape how people think. Look, I'm not saying every Republican official is intentionally using these phrases out of malice. They could be just as ignorant as I was. But eventually you have to ask yourself, why does so much of the rhetoric from the right keep pointing people toward fear of the same groups of people?